Luc Bouchard with Solvac Life Coaching Services. I've been a certified life skills coach for 22 years and I specialize in men's issues and what keeps men stuck. Welcome. Today is the 38th day of the 72-day challenge. We are in week 6. It is a new week and the weekly theme is intimacy. Our daily focus is male conditioning and the topic is why men struggle with intimacy. Thank you for joining me. I am grateful that you are here and watching this video, and we're going to jump right into intimacy, which is a pretty difficult topic for a lot of men. And it's men hear a lot about how they have intimacy problems and they have problems with getting close. And I just want to shine a light as to some of the reasons as to why that is. So just a few working definitions to begin with and to talk about, so we're all on the same page, that first of all, there's different levels of intimacy. There is going to be emotional intimacy where you're close with someone. There's going to be physical intimacy where you're feeling like literally physically you're feeling close and you're touching and you're having that kind of stuff. And then of course what goes the next extension of that is sexual intimacy, where you are intimate with someone. And intimacy is one of these things that's, it's interchanged and whatnot. So we'll talk about having intimate relationships, and that's usually meant of a sexual nature. Well, what we need to understand, and I don't think I'm really saying anything new here for the people listening to this video, is that I believe intimacy is really a primary need that we all have. Children need intimacy and adults need intimacy. And it's not something we really ever go without. And when we don't have intimacy, we suffer. Because really it's very important that we have that kind of connection, because that's what intimacy is. It's a connection with other people. When we're intimate with people, we feel understood and we feel like we belong and we feel like someone actually cares about us. And that ultimately we matter. But what I found in my personally and working with others is that intimacy is a very confusing condition, experience, phenomena. I'm not really sure what word to use, which is the most appropriate for so many people and so many men, because there's a lot of baggage that people can have around intimacy. There's a lot of stuff that people bring forward from intimate relationships in the past, and that I'm going to suggest, for the sake of this video and the sake of simplicity, is that there's 3 reasons why people struggle with intimacy, specifically men. The first reason is that to be in a truly intimate relationship, you have to be vulnerable. And you have to be somewhat exposed about allowing yourself to be open to having someone else in your life. And especially when it comes to emotional intimacy, where you're truly talking about how you feel and how you're affected, and when you are less than have it all together and less than stellar, and you're just feeling like you are, exposed. And that's not a great place for men, because as I've said on many of my videos, feeling exposed is something that really men don't like to be, because that means that we're at risk of people hurting us. So that's one reason why men don't like intimacy, because it leaves us in an exposed place. Another reason why intimacy might be difficult for people is what was modeled to them, what was modeled to you as a child from your parents. And if your point of reference within your family of origin is that of intimacy is not okay, and you can't be vulnerable, and you can't be exposed in a lot of ways, because that's not where you're supposed to be as a man or as a male or as a boy. You're supposed to be tough, and you're supposed to put on these, just don't let anyone see you sweat. And if intimacy has always been used against you within your family by your siblings or your parents, then it's generally not seen as a very safe place to be, because your experience has been when you needed it the most and needed to be accepted the most for being vulnerable, you weren't. So there we have some very early life experiences where intimacy wasn't good because of what you saw within your family and how you were treated if you were ever vulnerable and you felt exposed, and then you've learned, There's no damn way am I going to allow myself to feel needy or vulnerable or anything like that, because it's not a safe place to go. And the last reason why I have found that people are, and men specifically, avoid intimacy is that they've been burnt in the past in their adult lives. They've had relationships where they are left, they trusted and they allowed themselves to be in their guard has been dropped down, and they've been in a place of being in a vulnerable position, and that information has been used against them, or they were hurt with it, and that can either happen in friendships, that can happen in, of course, romantic relationships, and that can happen in work relationships, where you were, open and trying being authentic, and you were kind of exposed, and then someone has used that against you, or they've taken that and you've been hurt with it. So depending on any one of these, which are difficult, because any one of these would be really good reasons, there are good reasons for a lot of people. What they see as to not to be intimate is that A, I'm a male and I don't want to be vulnerable, B, my family, what I saw in my family's intimacy was really messed up, or I've been burnt when I've been intimate in the past, why would I go there? And that's what baggage is, generally, pure and simple that's our baggage. When we bring forward stuff that has happened in the past, and it colors our current relationships. So any one of those can be really a deterrent from being intimate. What happens if you have 2 of them or 3 of them, like so many of us have? It kind of makes sense that people are going to go, nope, not going to go there. Going to keep a big old boundary down and keep people, no one's going to get inside. I'm going to be an island. I'm going to be onto myself. And you can do that, and so many of us do. But however it is that how you want to live your life? Are you being authentic? Have you looked at your intimate reality with intimacy? A little pen on words there, try and keep it a bit light. But if you're not clear on how we've been burnt on intimacy and what keeps it and what repels us from it, then I'm going to suggest you're not actually living an authentic life. And if you're not living an authentic life, you're not going to have really good connections, and you're kind of going through the motions. And this is where we get to the point in my interviews where I go, what are you deserving? What should you have in your life? What do your kids deserve? It's easier for people to be intimate with their kids until they become adolescents, and then they become adults, and then that kind of changes because, it's different when our kids are willful and have minds of their own, and that's something that's difficult for parents to come to terms with, especially if our kids have unresolved issues with us. But are you going to allow your baggage and your socialization, men, about being fearful of being vulnerable, and what your parents did stop you from having intimate relationships? Because what kind of life is that? And yeah, it's scary, and yeah, it is disturbing to put yourself out there, but what are you deserving of? And really what we have to understand is that when we come to terms with that, no one can hurt us with our own stuff. We never give our power away to people. That really, people can't hurt it with us. It may feel uncomfortable, we may not like it, but generally if people use our vulnerability and the intimacy that comes with that against us, those are people you can't trust. But it doesn't mean you never become vulnerable or intimate again with people, or that because you were burnt once, that you live the rest of your life of never having authentic relations with anyone and being opening yourself up. It means you don't do it with those people, or you improve the relationship. So we have to look at why we avoid intimacy, the reasons, and I've given 3 possible reasons. I'm sure there's more if we would look at them. But why do you avoid intimacy is what I just really encourage you to look at. And is that the way you want to live the rest of your life? Because I know you deserve more. I deserve more. And I've been burnt. And certainly intimacy was not a lot of fun in my childhood and growing up. But avoiding intimacy is a choice. And we're either controlled by our intimacy or we embrace it. Luc Bouchard with Solve Act Life Coaching Services. I've been a certified life skills coach for 22 years, and I help men deal with their intimacy issues. You have a great day. Take care.